morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show, Thursday edition, governance and policy as well as politics, with me, Patrick Soko, your usual host, who loves you the most because of your dedication and contribution to this program. And our dear viewers, we've got a fully packed program lined up for you, and we'd like to apologize for starting the program slightly late. This was due to some technical challenges beyond our control. However, we'll go straight into our first segment we call the morning boost, so that we can get flexing our muscles.
Hello. I'm your boy Harrison, aka the Fitness Papi, once again, and we are here at Chonzi Fitness Gym, and today we are going to do spinning for probably 5 minutes or 4 minutes. Okay, we can go. You have to insert here. Make sure that the foot is wrapped around the belt. Then you now start. Okay. So the benefit of spinning, it actually helps boost up your metabolism, and it also helps your cardiovascular system. And physical benefits, can tell it also helps you with the calves, the legs. Okay. So we go. Since I have less time, so I'm going to just speed up things. So I'm going to harden here my adjustive knob. Then I stand. Take it slowly. Take it slowly. So this kind of movement helps the gut muscles here, and when you take it down, it helps your calves here. Let's go. So take it slowly, slowly. Okay, then I loosen my adjustive knob. I sit down again. So you can also do a full body workout while having a stationary bike, but I'm not encouraging for those who have the bikes, the normal transportation bikes. Yeah, but if you have a stationary bikes, you can also do a full body workout. Okay, here we go. So start with the back squeeze. Back squeeze. Okay. So from there you can go to side to side. Just go like this. Okay. So this one really helps the shoulders here. Okay. Then from here you can go to one hand raise. Let's go. This kind of movement also helps you in your shoulders. Keep going. Okay, then from there, you harden your adjustive knob. Then you stand again, all the way. Stretch your legs. Stretch your legs. Keep going. Stretch it up. Stretch it up. stretch it up, and we can call it a wrap. Okay, guys, then after here, you can just stretch. Okay, then you come this side, do a stretch. Okay, from here you do your back stretch. I mean your what is your chest stretch. Okay, then you tap your toe here, hold, do your back stretch. Okay, and we are done with our workout. Remember, it's about your health. You've been with me, Harrison, aka the Fitness Puppy, here at Chon's Fitness Gym. Bye bye.
Well, there you have it. Thank you very much, Harrison, the Fitness Puppy there with that drill. That's how best you can make use of that stationed bike. I hope you managed to learn one or two things. It's quite a good exercise that I think is manageable by everyone. Just if you have a bike, it is advisable that you can do those drills. It's quite a simple technique, and you have to do it right to ensure that it does not complicate your health condition. And now, still talking about health matters, we have to go to our next segment that we call the Health Corner, where Dr. Mofaya keeps on updating us on various health issues. Let's go straight into that segment.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubia Namfaya. So this week we have been talking about stroke, and we discussed what is stroke. We say the stroke is a condition that occurs when there is blockage in the brain that leads to a brain damage or a bleed in the brain that causes brain injury. So we also say that stroke patients would have certain symptoms and signs, and we said some of the signs of a stroke is that somebody might have paralysis on one side of the body where they're not able to move their arms and not able to speak well. And if you ask the patient to smile, they might not be able to smile as well. So those are some of the signs that somebody is having a stroke. So what happens now when you take the patient to the hospital and the doctor is supposed to see the patient? So usually we would order tests that we need to know certain things about the patient. We need to know their cholesterol levels in the blood. How much cholesterol do they have? If it's very high, then we need to correct that cholesterol by giving them some medications. Then we also need to know how their blood pressure is. Is the blood pressure too high at that point? Usually when the blood pressure is very high, we do not give medications to bring it down too quickly. We usually allow them to be in that state of having high blood pressure for a period of time while we are bringing it down very slowly, so that we do not cause the brain to have more injury by not perfusing the brain enough. So the other thing is that we'd also need to check the blood if there's any infection anywhere, and we check for the kidneys as well if they're functioning well, the liver is functioning well. Then the major test that needs to be done for somebody that has just had a stroke is a CT scan. So it's important that we should be able to do the CT scan and check the brain to see the extent of the damage, and to also be able to see what type of stroke they're having. Is it an ischemic stroke or is it a hemorrhagic stroke? So if it's an ischemic stroke, we have different ways of managing patients with an ischemic stroke and also different ways of managing patients with hemorrhagic stroke. So we need to be able to do a CT scan, very important. So if you go to the hospital with somebody who has a stroke, make sure that a CT scan is done and it's seen by the radiologist and reported to be able to know what type of stroke is it and to be able to determine the treatment. So for the treatment, of course, like I have mentioned, we need to know the cholesterol. We need to be able to give the medications to bring the cholesterol to normal. Of course, that is going to take some time. It will not be done in just one day. So as time goes on, as the patient is taking those medications to bring down the cholesterol, then the cholesterol will go down to the normal range. Then the other thing is that we need to treat the BP. So we need to be able to treat the BP over a period of time and not very quickly, because it may cause other complications. So the BP medications have to be given, and the patient has to be taking the BP medications even after the stroke. Whether it has resolved or it has not resolved, then the patient still needs to take their BP medication. Also, patients who have high blood sugar, they need to be controlled. So if you're diabetic and you've just had a stroke, your sugars will also need to be controlled, because they might increase the damage that occurs with diabetic patients in the body. Then the other thing that needs to be done is to be able to give the patient, if it's an ischemic stroke, they might be able to give a patient some medications that can reduce your blood from clotting, because if your blood is forming clots in the body, then those are the ones that cause the blockages in the brain and lead to stroke. So we might give some medications to reduce the blood from clotting. So those are some of the things that we help patients with when they come with a stroke. Apart from that, patients will need to do physiotherapy because of the injury, the paralysis that they are having. They're not able to move their arms properly or speak properly. So they might be put on physiotherapy, where they go and do some exercises to strengthen the muscles in that part of the body that has become affected. So that is how a stroke is treated in the hospital and also diagnosed in the hospital. So today we're learning that stroke can cause disability in the body, and it needs to be diagnosed with a CT scan. Very important for you to do a CT scan in the body, in the hospital once you get there, for you to be able to know what type of stroke it is. Then we also mentioned that you need to be put on medications that can help to lower the cholesterol and also help to monitor or to reduce the blood pressure in the body. And also, if you are diabetic, you need to be put on diabetic medications. And if it's a clot that has caused the stroke, then you need to be put on medications that reduce blood from clotting. Also, very important, in the follow-up management, you need to be doing physiotherapy to bring back the strength in the muscles that have been affected by the stroke. So that is how a stroke is treated, and I do hope you have learned something. I do hope you'll be taking care of yourselves. If you know that you have hypertension, make sure you take your blood pressure medications, because if your blood pressure increases and becomes too high, it will cause you to have a stroke. So that is all we had for today. Be sure to watch again tomorrow. Thank you for watching.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and that was the Health Corner with Dr. Mufaya there interesting topic of discussion, treatment and diagnosis of a stroke. I hope you managed to learn one or two things on how stroke can be diagnosed as well as treated. Quite an interesting subject. When we were having the morning booster, I did mention the importance of us exercising. It is equally important so that we can avoid such diseases that are non-communicable, such as diabetes, stroke itself, and heart diseases. And we have to make sure that we keep exercising to just keep our bodies fit. Good morning, madam. Welcome.
Good morning, Patrick Soko. It's good to join the set this morning with you, of course, to discuss a lot of important issues happening there. I know Morning Boost, the doctors talked about quite a number of things with regards to stroke, and I hope we are learning one or two things. You know, this particular topic for me is one thing I've not understood for quite some time, and hearing the doctor speak about it just gives me the confidence of knowing more about what this particular illness is. Well,
Yeah,
I see
exactly.
sometimes it's someone had stroke and maybe they're having problems with speech. Someone had stroke, they are having problems with hands, they can't respond. Someone is having stroke, they can't walk and stuff like that. But knowing to say there's a way you can treat it, you can avoid it, at least it gives us confidence on how you can deal with some particular illnesses. So I am Prudence Chota, of course, and I will be accompanying my colleague Patrick Soko for the breakfast show until 09 hours, hoping we can have a wonderful discussion with you, the viewer there. You can call, make those submissions and contributions through the numbers that are scrolling on the line, on the television set, on the particular topic that we will be discussing this morning.
Interesting. Our topic of discussion is how can Zambians participate in unlocking the economy. And we are going to have some guests who are going to help us digest this question. But you two, our dear viewers, like my colleague stated, you can equally participate and tell us your perspective on our topic of discussion. You know, every time we say this breakfast show is a courtesy of you, our dear viewers, and we do not take your viewership for granted. We value your contribution and support to the program that has continued to grow over time. And now we have to, there are some interesting stories that we are making the headlines, and some of the stories that we can zoom in before we go to our first interview of the day is a story where President Hakainde Hichilema has exercised his prerogative of mercy by committing 390 prisoners to death sentence to life imprisonment. These were on a death sentence that have been now committed to life imprisonment. And this is one of President Hakainde Hichilema's aspiration to ensure that the death penalty is abolished. Home Affairs Minister Jack Mwimbu says this follows the abolition of the death penalty by President Hichilema last year in December, after he assented to the Penal Code Amendment Bill number 25 of 2022. Prudence Chota did file this report, so we are going to listen to this story and another story where the Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema, he says government is not in competition with civil society organizations, the church, and opposition political party leaders. So this is a story where the president was meeting civil society organization at State House, where they discussed quite a number of issues that they have been recommending. Let's get to zoom in those two stories. We'll be back on the other side.
President of the Republic of Zambia and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has exercised his prerogative of mercy by commuting sentences for 390 inmates from death to life imprisonment. The commutations comprise 279 male inmates and 11 female inmates from Kobeko, male and female maximum security prisons. This is pursuant to Article 97 of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, which provides for presidential pardon and substitution of severe punishments imposed on convicted persons. Noticed with concern that after the abolishment of the provisions pertaining to defamation of the president, other members of the public found it in their opinion, that now they have the right to continue defaming the president with impunity. Laws are still in place that protect the rights of individuals.
Civil society organizations in Zambia play an important role in the provision of checks and balances. Critical non-state actors in the country have been appealing to the government to be transparent on debt management, especially on the implementation of the International Monetary Fund IMF bailout package. They have also been vocal on issues pertaining to constitutional reforms, the high cost of living, citing the escalating milling meal and fuel prices. Wednesday, 18 February 2023, civil society organizations were presented an opportunity to engage President Hakainde Hichilema on matters of concern at State House. Transparency International Zambia TIZ President Sampa Kalungu represented other organizations and started by reminding President Hakainde Hichilema that their quest to hold government accountable does not reflect enmity.
It's important to emphasize that civil society organizations are not an enemy of the government but partners, since we are always aspiring together for the greater good of our people and of our nation. And I need to mention, sir, that however this relationship is quite a tricky relationship, because we both applaud you and your government when certain things are done which are good and which are appreciated, but at the same time we should be given an opportunity and the space for us to challenge you and your government whenever such things are not going according to what we feel they should.
And President Hichilema also used the occasion to inform civil society organizations that government is not in competition with them.
This government is not in competition with the civil society organizations. Not at all. This government is not in competition with the Board of Trusts. This government is not in competition with traditional leaders. Nor in competition with any other organization, grouping, individual in this country. Not even with the opposition. We're not in competition. We believe that we are partners with the civil society organizations. Genuinely believe so. Except we perform different roles, but at the end of the day we dovetail, we meet somewhere. That is the common interest of the people.
The head of state also emphasized that his administration is keen to steer national unity and peace.
Amongst our agendas as we being the new government is to reunite this country. We believe the toxic stuff that was there before elections must be dealt with square and must never be confused with issues of governance. For example, the fight against corruption should never be allowed to stray into a divisive ethnic issue. Crime does not recognize ethnicity, because crime is defined by departure from the laws of the land. How does ethnicity come?
Patrick Soko, Camnet News. There you have it. Quite interesting stories there coming from President Hakainde Hichilema. Quite some good pronouncements there on the death penalty, committing those prisoners to life sentence as opposed to the death penalty. You know, Zambia has been an abortionist state in that it hasn't been hanging people since the leadership of Mwanawasa, Pia Banda, ECL, so Chilufya, so everyone has not been able to sign the death penalty to say, okay, go and hang this person. So if Zambia has been an abortionist state, but President Hichilema wants to make sure that this provision is removed from the Zambian statute, and it started by through the review of the penal code.
Of course, Patrick, so interestingly, and of course they did mention, the Home Affairs Minister did mention that what happens now is what was outdated cannot apply now. So meaning for those who've been removed from death penalty to life imprisonment, there is actually a probability that they might be released on the presidential pardon. It now changes and alternates everything. So those who were on the death penalty, they've now been put on life in prison because death penalty no longer exists. And now the president can pardon them.
Yes, we have precedents where we had one of the ministers who served under the previous administration should be the former Keith Mukata. He was also under the same, but it was his sentence was reduced to life imprisonment. Then he was eventually pardoned by former President Edgar Lungu. So you see, so this provision does give a lot of life to those who thought they can spend their entire life in prison, or they are going to die while in prison. So eventually, based, like you are putting it, based on the mercy of the president, you may actually be able to see.
Why I have issues with these laws, not trying to be mean or bad on this particular issue, but if you are the victim in these cases, it becomes hard for you and your family. For example, maybe a breadwinner of your family has been murdered by someone who's been sent to life in prison, and then suddenly this person is pardoned,
they are roaming the street,
and they are back in the community. And when they look at you, they even sometimes mock you and laugh at you for what they actually did and the pain that they caused to your family. So I think these particular issues are really...
Your perspective is accurate. That has been the problem. And that has been the bone of contention. People have been arguing to say, it's like now, if you are making the law to be less punitive, you are encouraging crime. But that's another topic for another day. We may spend the entire day.
No, I learned something that you said. Actually, the minister said something yesterday about the presidential, what was this defamation of the president law that was abolished.
Yes.
He did mention to say we've seen quite a number of defamatory remarks coming up just because that law was removed. From the time it was removed, cases of people insulting the president have actually started going on the rise. So he reminded people to say, don't forget to say, despite that particular law being abolished, there is still the law that stipulates that if you commit a crime against another person, definitely you will face the wrath of the law. But, you know, some of these issues, of course, you've said it's a thing that can be debated. In as much as they seem good, you know, we've got a lot of talks about human rights and stuff like that. But also, on the other hand, if you look at all these issues, they have somehow a negative effect. But we are not going to go into
Yes, we'll go there, because even me, if you ask for my opinion, I'll say, boo, let the death penalty remain.
Of course.
But it's okay. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. So let's just try to zoom in one of the stories before we usher in our guest.
Yeah, so from yesterday's story, and I know we had the murder case where the person who was involved for murdering a couple in Kasupe yesterday appeared in court, but that's one of the stories that made headline. Then there is, of course, a particular topic that has been of interest with regards to the price of millimil in the country. So yesterday, one of our reporters did go on the ground in Mutendere just to find out if at all the sellers of this commodity are abiding by the directive from the Food Reserve Agency to have millimil in Lusaka not cost more than 170 kwacha, and then on the copper belt not cost more than 180 kwacha. So what is happening is, as FRA is selling the maize cheap to the millers, the millers are selling a 25-kilogram bag of breakfast millimil at 160. And they were told when people buy and they have to resell, it has to be 170. It doesn't have to go above that. That is in Lusaka. And then on the copper belt, at wholesale, they are selling it at 100, and at wholesale 170, and retail it has to be on 180. So that was a directive by the Food Reserve Agency. But the question is, are the retailers abiding by this directive to have millimil not cost more than 170 kwacha? Let's see the story that made headline in our news yesterday so that we understand what's happening on the ground.
Since his arrest last year, Godfrey Piri, the 34-year-old gardener who is accused of murdering his employer in cold blood in November 2022, made his first court appearance Wednesday, on the 23rd of November 2022.
Directive by the government through the Food Reserve Agency, FRA, that millimil prices in the country should reduce to 170 kwacha at retail price for a 25-kilogram bag in Lusaka and 180 kwacha on the copper belt, prices of the commodity have not yet started to respond to the directive. Recently, mealie meal prices in the country had escalated to over 210 kwacha in some parts of the country, with Mtendere compound in Lusaka being one of the areas still selling mealie meal at a high price. Residents in the area have appealed to the relevant authorities to move in and ensure that retail sellers of the commodity abide by the directive, adding that government should further devise a plan to ensure that mealie meal prices reduce even further, stating that the 170 kwacha is too high for some families to afford.
And then in breakfast, people are 200, 285. Na profit, we book 35. Katikula rola, ndiye chipaho, bemba kwani simtema rola na mandia ya puyo. So kuno na repu zaidi ya rola.
Meanwhile, a mealie meal trader spoken to, identified as Newton Mwampamba, has explained to Camnet News that their pricing is according to the prevailing prices at which mealie meal is being sourced from the wholesalers.
The people have been complaining that prices are high. Therefore, if you look at like these other brands, we have been ordering at a higher price, like Pende. Then at the negotiations with the government, they reduced by 10 kwacha. So even us, we have to reduce by that margin, 10 kwacha. So that's the thing. Consumers have been told you, they always complain. You increase, they complain. You reduce, they want further reduction. That's how it is. So I've heard that FRA and the Millers Association have been in engagement with the produce further, so that maybe a lot of people they can be happy. So I'm still waiting for that. I don't know when will be the results. Still waiting. But maybe it can come to a retail price like it can be 150 kwacha. That's a 25 kg breakfast. Maybe the roller can go to 120. That would be much better.
And some residents have added that they await on the promises made by the UPND while in opposition that they will lower the price of mealie meal to 50 kwacha for a 25 kilogram bag once they assumed office. Beatrice Chabaya, Camnet News, Lusaka.
There you have it. That was our reporter Beatrice yesterday going to Mtendere compound just to see if at all the price of mealie meal is responding to the directive by the Food Reserve Agency that it should not sell above 170 kwacha. From what we've seen there, the price is slightly higher than the stipulated amount. We've seen 185, 175, and in other stores, I'm sure it should be different from that particular pricing. So despite the directive, the commodity has still remained high, and I hope our leaders and of course the Food Reserve Agency can quickly come and intervene in this particular matter. We know that January is a very difficult month in February of every year because this particular season, you know, it's rain season, Patrick so-called, there's a lot of bills that you have to settle.
Exactly.
And it puts pressure on you, and the price of commodity equally goes up during this particular period. So we need affordable mealie meal that every citizen can afford to buy. So that was one of the stories that made headline. In case you want to pass a comment with regards to that particular story, you can send us messages through our Facebook page, or you can call the numbers that are on the screen as we get to interact with our guest this morning, who's of course not new to the screens of Camnet TV. We've hosted him, I think, on one or two occasions, Patrick?
Yes, we did host him in one of the breakfast shows, and he's coming from the leadership movement. He is the new Secretary General of the party, Mr. Jairus Ngoma. Welcome to the program, sir.
The pleasure is mine, Mr. Soko, and the viewers. We are very grateful yet again to be at this wonderful breakfast show.
Interesting. To get started with our conversation, first of all, our topic of discussion this morning is how Zambians can participate in unlocking the economy. The UPND administration did assure, especially towards the end of the year 2022, that focus will be towards unlocking the economy for the year 2023. Are we heading that direction? Are you able to give us your perspective on that, Mr. Ngoma?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sop, and the viewers out there. You know, whenever we are engaged ourselves, our reference point is production. And President Silumba has made it very clear that for us to go in a way where life should be called life, each one of us, educated or not, needs to have something to do. Having said that, the New Dawn government has been known for speeches. It's speech after speech. Speech after speech. They told us about 3 state farms, cultivation of marijuana. Oh, we are the first one. President Silumba was the first one to congratulate them, to tell them that can you replicate in a number of districts, because we know this is a cash crop, it's medicinal, will rake a lot of money out of this, and it will allow a lot of our people to be productive. Now, when you look at them and the way they are good at their policies, they lack the priority, these people. Because by now, Mr. Soko, we were supposed to be told this meal issue. The reason is very simple. The previous season, you saw how fertilizer was bought at some exorbitant prices, and you saw the production cost which was pushed to a farmer. And in this context now, you look at the ZESCO tariffs, it's very high. Look at the diesel. These people, they need this commodity to be transported to some point. Now, what these millers are doing, they will be pushing back this production cost to poor-trodden Zambians. So this government, if it has a DNA to look at Wovutika, you know, these people who are downtrodden in Makomboni, Kanyapa Mala, Mr. Soko, what they were supposed to do was use ZESCO. Can you relax the electricity tariffs to these millers? And we are not in shortage of the commodity like the maize grain. So why are my people going through what they're going through? So I want you, ZESCO, to make sure that on the industrial scale, can you work a modality where these miners, I mean the millers rather, should be given a sigh of relief in terms of the production cost to do with the electricity. I want my people, once we are making a long-lasting solution, in our case, the nuclear way, because we know energy is everything in terms of production. So you will have allowed your people now to be buying the bag of meal at an affordable price now, because you have mitigated. Now, when you don't have the plan to talk of production, the New Dawn are known on the consumptive. Them, they prioritize jobs which are not non-productive in nature. When we talk of non-productive, we mean jobs where you can produce products ready to sell, offer services on the market. As it stands, you discover that so this government, we are very doubtful, because you hate the SG telling you the media that we are speculating. We don't know what is happening. Maybe there is sabotage. How can you be speculating when you know very well that you don't have the route of production? How are you going to bring minimum to 50 kwacha when you don't produce? And this is why this New Dawn government, they need to do reverse gear now and listen to what leadership movement is telling them. Is to allow our young people, educated or not, let them go to production.
When we talk about production, Mr. Ngoma, what do you mean?
What we mean by production, simply put, people cannot be marooned to be told that they have got nothing to do. Meanwhile, you are sitting on your God-given resource. You've got arable land all over, Mr. Soko. ZNS is not what it used to be now. It's a shell. We were supposed to get these young people, we take them production, manual labor. Mr. Soko, kugwira kambwiri kaja, kakambwiri at 12 points. Kabrumu at grade 12. Now, how are you going to alleviate? So what we are saying, we need to look at local production, not this foreign production where they are looting our resources, going in the offshores of Switzerland, and these people in Switzerland, what they do, they don't even allow their people who are not working to be getting certain incentives. For us, you can see that there is capital flight, and we have given these people what we call tax breaks and tax holidays, at the expense, you, Mr. Soko, if you get 6,000 going up, they will subject you to pay a 35%. Why not allow these mines also to be paying so that you attend to your people in a manner that they are productive? That's why for us, Tikambati, we are going to bring what we call mineral reserve agents. Manakuliri FRA, tifuna abantu wazishita business, go bolo gulisa miala zija kuboma. Imwe wasoko, did you ever see somebody is doing farming at a soko return certificate pamunda panu panimulim? Why are we not doing that? Because we know that we are allowing more Zambians to produce more maize so that we have food security. Why is it only interested in the mines? When munakamunda wakapeza miala at no license. For us, we are going to make sure that Zambians should be trading fairly. Only foreigners will be given the licenses, because these are supposed to be remitting more, because right now they come, chase your people, get the mines, control them. You are told you have no capacity. The Chinese have found gold. What are we told? No, we don't have capacity. What we talk about in terms of production, even if panyumba basoko kungalako kabaki and ka garden, ino boma netirimo, we are good at signing MOUs. But
talking about the memorandum of understandings, Mr. Ngoma, we've heard that, for instance, in the energy sector, they are going to unlock the economy in that we are going to have one of the largest power plant via solar. And we're also going to, one of the trips also resulted in President Hichilema securing a deal from Angola where we'll be able to get crude from that country to this country via pipeline. Isn't that progressive, Mr. Ngoma?
Thank you very much. The narrative, the direction is very good. But the actualization.
So you are doubting that it was
Let me explain. Because you cannot go and lobby a local solution. UAE is a desert, Mr. Soko, and the viewers who are listening. It's a desert. They don't care about trees. The sun is in abundance. How are you going to get a product which is going to allow your country to be a desert? Because you are going to cut down swaths of trees so that you plant those. And remember, sun is not reliable here, like rain season right now.
Mr. Ngoma, what your thoughts we pick this call? You are through to the program. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
We've lost that call. You can proceed, Mr. Ngoma.
Yeah, I was saying that that technology, in the context of Zambia, we are supposed to be working on the hydro, Mr. Soko, because hydro is no longer reliable, that we know. And we have uranium here in Zambia, we have cement here in Zambia, we have the steel here in Zambia, we have lead in car which we use to manage the waste from the nuclear. We have boron to excite the nuclear. What the president was supposed to do was to go to a country now which have got the technology. Oh, Iran, here we come. In Zambia, we have these issues. All we are lacking is this aspect to do with the technology. Because if you give me this technology, in Zambia, I've got plenty of trees. I'm supposed to be working on the afforestation. Now, this to entail my country will turn into a desert. So what I need now is a technology which is drought free in terms of the nuclear energy. It requires uranium, which you have in Solwezi there. So what we are supposed to do now, we are supposed to agree as a people that we have what it takes. So let's look for a technology. It is dangerous. Even electricity, Mr. Soko. When we were discovering electricity, a number of people died. You know, these agreements. No, for example, they were educated that so life is about risks. We need to know as a people that there is no country which has fallen from heaven without facing risk. The problem we have is, look at our Middle East, our friends. They have maintained their God-given resources. They are controlling their oil fruit. You have no interest in business. They are busy sending their own countries, those companies, to take charge of our God-given resources.
The red wants to interact with you.
Yes, my sister.
I know you're very concerned when you say most of the resources that we have are not having locals participate. Is it that our own local people do not have interest or the resources to run these, to mine or run some of the resources that we have as a country. I ask this because if we see at how many people apply, for example, if they say there's a mine that is here, how many local people do apply to actually say, give me that mine and run it? Is it that maybe our own local people are not participating? That's why we have people from the outside taking over some of these resources.
Thank you very much, Madam, and the viewers out there. The challenge we have is the policy. You know, when you have a government which has got no belief in its people to be put to production, these are the results. Are you telling me just to do an audit in the means of defense, we don't have people in Zambia who can do that? Unless you should look for a foreign. Because we hate ourselves so much. And this colonial education that has been given to us, it has created technocrats who are also so selfish, and they make decisions. You hear them, they come here. No, we can't cause a nuclear power. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. Yes, now go to ZESCO. Are you not going to see people being electrocuted there with hydro? Now, what we are trying to answer, my sister, is that imagine today, if we say, okay, the 4 million people that we have, the young people, they are educated, we want to tap into the God-given resource. A good example, Mr. Soko, if you have driven, I don't know how, the last time you were on the Copper Belt, the Black Mountain is not the Black Mountain people knew. It is finishing now. They have given trucks to these multinationals. Once young people, in the name of the 20%, when they are to Masaka, to 100 kgs, but no, there is low content here. I'll just give you 50 questions. Now imagine we are the mineral reserve agents. You allow the Jerabos to say, Bane, the way farmers are taking their product to FRA, we want you to be bringing your product to mineral reserve agents. Meaning, as a nation, look, 50 years plus, we don't even have a simple copper reserve. Meanwhile, we are second in terms of command, because Chile is leading, followed by Zambia. But no, DRC then Zambia. Oh yeah. So in average, we are the topmost there. So now the question is, why should a country which has got no mining in terms of gold, yet it has the biggest reserve in terms of gold? They are stealing from Africa, and here we are seated, we don't have capacity. We need to start, where is the cobalt going? Where is the copper going? Where is manganese? When you have these reserves now, you can go on the international market right now, start activating, using your young people. Imagine each Jerabo is bringing a kg, and on average, how many are we? That will be a starting point. We can go the pick and shovel under ZNS, because ZNS has got certain equipments which are nothing. Here is a foreigner. He's coming like a notebook, my sister. Papa Chongwe, they are busy routing as we are talking. Yendani Parufunsa, Kapoto, along Kafue River. They are extracting my Chinese pick and shovel. Tika Kambati, we can extract that, you know. You are jokers. And this is the mindset that we are talking about. So imagine our friends, our villagers, Papa Kasisi, where they have found gold, my Chinese. If they extract and Pakafam Pake Muntu, Pari gold, I pay, but no, you don't have a license. But Mapasa foreigner, so that they continue routing you, you've been told with a colonial mentality that anything that we have is not ours, forgetting that land is everything. Once we own these issues now, we become the landlords. These people, when they come, we partner with them. But what have we told? Land is only called land, my sister, when a foreigner is there. You and me were given names. Hey, you are squatters. Hey, a fresh example is the one we witnessed in Chingola, where people were there. No, this is illegal. Airstrip. If you're going to LUSAKA, what has happened in the Forest 27? They told us the first day they go into the office, they'll do what? They'll break or they'll demolish that. What are we saying? It's the policy of going the route of facing challenges. Because if it was President Sirumbe, these young people we are seeing in these streets, using money from ZRA, money from ZICTA, money from toll gates, we were supposed to start from somewhere. Muntu akaenda ku training Mr. Soko, so afikira kufola abantu. They will go, ZRA in 6 months, Zambia in 9 months. They will be prepared to be soldiers. Us will be tapping into the energy of the young people. They produce the grain. Once they are producing the grain, they are preparing the primary industry. Because after 1 year 6, it means now, second year you can employ teachers, because now you have a base where you'll be getting your revenue, your copper is there, you are on the international market active, but where you have misplaced priority, you go to the secondary, Masia to primary, at no, dollar will come down. How is it going to come down without production? And you cannot be the chief marketer of any company where you like production. Because by now the president was supposed to be striking deals. Come to Zambia, have got gold. Come and get. Come to Zambia, have got manganese. In fact, you have discovered lithium. In southern provinces, a complete circuit for the electric car battery. Now, you surrender to the Americans. Who told us we cannot hold some of these things? So what we are saying is a policy, my sister. If we are going to have leaders who remember that the super K, the university we have, so University of Zambia, who built it? It's our forefathers, Mr. Soko. They didn't go to look for a foreigner. No, even this independence we have, that the self-belief. So what we are telling...
Let's give you a chance to have some more time, Mr. Ngoma. Our dear viewers, in case you are just joining us, you are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and in conversation we have Mr. Jairus Ngoma. He is the Secretary General for the leadership movement, and we are discussing issues pertaining to unlocking the economy and how can citizens participate, and he is giving us his perspective. You too, our dear viewers, in case you want to give us your perspective on this matter, you can join the conversation and give us your view. Now, talking about unlocking the economy, the mining sector is one of the critical issues, and we've seen that under the previous administration, Zambia did repossess Mopani mine from Grenco, and this has been one of the mines that is being run by Zambia at the moment. However, just this week we have been treated to information that there is a company that is based in South Africa called South Africa SAUK, and being run by a Zambian called Mr. Bizwell Mutale, and they want to buy Mopani mine. What would be your perspective as the leadership movement? Do we need to privatize that mine, or should it remain under the government?
Thank you very much. First thing first, we have the slogan, local is LUSAKA. You see, Mr. Soko, the aspect, we said it earlier on, that we hate ourselves so much. It doesn't matter in that company if the head of state had shares before. Okay? What should be very important is, are we capable to hold to our God-given resource, so that the money is spinning around our local economy? Because we needed Avena Mukalira, Avena GPM and these other people, we put their resources together, allow them to run that thing, because we know that once we give the charge to these local Zambians, then we'll be talking, because we'll have a starting point. One thing that we have gone to sleep is that on the copper belt, we have what we call open pit mine and underground mine. Now look at the brainwashing. They have told us to go to Mupani there, where you go 30 meters deep on those shafts, and they tell you, Mr. Soko, look, you don't have the capacity, you can't go down. Forgetting that copper belt is sitting on copper. You look at Usakire, is sitting on copper. Rwansha, all these, when you look at it, the Chinese are business we are talking right now, Brother Soko, they are using open pit mine. They are getting our copper. What are we saying? We are saying by now, we are supposed to have a lot of the Zambian people, allowing them to go the route on the small scale, pick and shovel, as they are generating resources in a global village. With the willpower of the government, you can start accessing some of these equipment. That's why as we are talking about ZNS, because Mukanda ZNS represents my bulldozer, Vijab and Kare. They are not working the way they are supposed to work. So when you ask us, we don't care about whether the president has had shares in that company. What we are interested is Zambians. As long as they have the green national resources, they are Zambians, and they need to take charge in their local economy. Local is LUSAKA, because we know that when Zambians get charged with that resource, a lot of us now will be benefiting. Unlike this capital flight we are seeing every day, copper is leaving us, but do we see any money hitting our banks? It's going in Switzerland there, and they don't even buy shares at LUSAKA Stock Exchange here. They buy their shares here at London Stock Exchange, and they're telling us, no, copper is doing fine in Zambia. Do we even have the control? So we needed the government, just like our friends are doing. They are controlling their oil fruit. We were supposed to start also learning from our forefathers. They fought for this independence so that we should take charge of our resources. But where are we getting this notion where everything we surrender to foreigners? We've been told we are incapacitated, we are so weak, we can't do anything. We are what we think, Mr. Soko. So if we are going to challenge the new dawn, what they should know is that the way to come out of this challenge is production, and not foreign production.
Mr. Goma, let me get you just a little bit so we allow this caller to submit their contribution. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Sir, you're through to the program. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, then you can go ahead with your contribution.
I'm Mr. Nyirenda from Kafiwa.
It's good to know Kafiwa is tuned in this morning. Mr. Nyirenda, please go ahead.
Yes, I'm so impressed with the way the government is creating issues there. Those are the people that we need that being well paid and done in this country. Because they are doing a great job and to keep it up. It's saying the truth and the truth will be told.
Mr. Nyirenda there from Kafiwe making a contribution. He agrees with you, Mr. Ngoma.
Thank
he
you.
says, of course, what you're saying is true and truth needs to be told. You've talked about the aspect of having Jerabos and local people being involved in the mining sector. Mr. Ngoma, what would happen if government stopped regulating locals in the mining sector to allow them to just float the mines, float whatever resources there, and then begin to mine? Don't you think there would be disaster in the country? We need to regulate even how local people are participating in the mining activities, rather than what you said to say, open it, give Jerabos to mine and let them bring the resources to government.
The perspective Prudence is bringing is that such tendencies have tended to breed insurgency, in that some of the groups of those people who are involved in unregulated mining would be sponsored, and we may have gangs emerging. Now, why are you not for the idea of regulating?
Before he responds, please let's pick up this call. Hello, good morning. Oh,
good morning.
I think we just lost that caller. Please, you call and we will give you an opportunity to make those contributions and submissions. Sorry, that call has cut, but we are waiting to hear from you. Call us and let's hear what you have to say with regards to the topic of discussion this morning. So in case you're just tuning in studio this morning, we have Mr. Jairus Ngoma, is Leadership Movement Secretary General, and we are discussing how can Zambians participate in unlocking the economy. So before the caller came in, Mr. Soko and I raised a point. So
okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Soko and the viewers out there. What leadership movement is saying, people should be very, very clear. We are not against regulating. What we are...
Hold your thoughts before we lose that caller. Sorry. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, you are through to the program. Your name and where you are calling us from.
Good morning.
Your name and where you are calling us from, sir.
My name is Mazan from Mexico.
You can go ahead for your contribution, sir.
Mr. Ngoma is right.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Mr. Ngoma is right. Government is the government is very poor government.
It was just agreeing with you, Mr. Ngoma.
Yes, Mr. Mwansalia from Solwezi agrees with you. He says you are very right. This government is doing a lot of nothing.
So the point we are trying to arm the Zambian people there is that if, my sister, you have your piece of land, this farm, you are doing agriculture, tell me, did you go to the Minister of Agriculture at Nabwera in the person license? Did you do that?
No.
Why? Because they know that you are a valuable person in the hierarchy of food. We need food in the nation. Therefore, everybody, as long as is able-bodied as a Zambian, they need to be allowed to go and be productive out there. Now, here's the scenario. China, during the time of Chairman Wan Mao, these people were very good in terms of agriculture. But Chairman Wan Mao told these people, we have a lot of iron in our country. What did he do? He asked his people to, each one, to have a kilo at the backyard. They were producing those people. Each one a kg. Go and sell to the government of China. China started from there. They started selling the steel. And here they are today. When you have a route to take, you need to first and foremost put your people on the firing range. Why should it be fitting for Zambians to be subjected to these licenses? Then a foreigner comes, you are giving them concessions. What we are saying is, the way FRA is conducting its business with the locals, we should relax, we should allow those general because those are industries. They even have the art on how to go about. All they need is, under the Mineral Reserve Agency, there will be a system where those people now, you allow Zambians to bring your product, because the idea is you want to up the game in terms of your reserves, so that this resource which you've been losing, even the future generation when they come, they should look at it and say, oh, this is what our fathers left. Unlike we restrict ourselves.
Does it mean you are saying we relax regulation? Or because at the end of the day, mining is a complex issue in that there are a number of issues that come into being, Mr. Ngoma. We have to make sure that while we are mining, we are cognizant of the consequences of mining to the environment. One. We also have to be cognizant of safety issues, Mr. Ngoma. Does it mean that we need to ignore safety regulations? We also ignore environmental consequences, Mr. Ngoma, at the expense of that?
What Zambians should know, when we say running the mines under ZNS, these are disciplined, one of the disciplined institutions. When you ask me to say production cannot take place where you lack discipline. Now, why are we bringing ZNS? We know that under the running of these mines under ZNS, there will be certain disciplines that need to be taken, but that should not be matching orders for Zambians to be told that no, you should be spectators in your economy, allow these foreigners to loot your resources, and you are told you don't have capacity. This is what we are saying no to. We have these foreigners right now, and then go mpaka sisi hapa Mr. Soko. Ma-Chinese wakumba wasenzesa barefooted Zambians wakumba na mapiki wapamanji washitaka advance walikuwa na palupili pati. Now, it's anatipasa mantaya ni ndani, whereby you don't even want to face the storm. Whenever you hear mining, no, it's very ubantu wamba Mr. Soko, they are looting a lot of our resources. It's as bomber at no, we don't have capacity. What we should know, before technology, mining has been there. Basic.
The current government says the economy is better run by the private sector. Government has no business doing business. What is your perspective on that?
This is the colonial mentality we are talking about. We've been colonized. Everything foreign is better than our own. Every foreign idea is viable than our own. South Korea, they have realized that they have quas those people. And they have invested from primary. One happens the importance of quas. From nursery, they go with that because they know this is their strength. You buy any phone, Samsung, it is from the government of South Korea. Huawei, you buy that phone, it is run by Chinese government. Who told us that no, because of the colonial masters, they want to suffocate you, you become very weak, surrender all your mines, you are told no, you can't do anything. This is what we have come to alert the Zambian people that there is no country which has fallen from heaven only to be given this so-called diamond.
So what will really happen if we are going to unlock this economy as a country? What do we really need to put into perspective, and especially priorities in terms of focus?
Thank you very much. First thing first, the very thing that they are doing to our people, they removed the laws which protect life, death penalty. What has that law to do with production? They removed the law to protect the office of president.
The argument on that one, I want you so that as you respond, is that the government believes that it has to be a good democracy, and that when you are a good democracy, you get goodwill from the international community.
My brother, the Americans have the Guantanamo Bay. You remember President Obama? He made it very clear we are going to bring down Guantanamo. Did they bring it down? They know that that is a deterrent to Al Qaeda. They come here, they tell you, no, can you bring down this law so that you give field day? Do you know what that it means? There is criminals, my sister, they study laws in these countries. When they find a weak, they can create a base here. They are okay, they know Zambia will be death penalty, no deterrent money. Let's go, field day. They'll be killing people with impunity. Now, tell me, which research did they do? Instead, it was a deterrent. No president signed it. What is wrong with that? Because in the Tikabada 24/7, Imo Wasoko Pobera Kunokunchito, my sister, Mufunika Mubwera, knowing fully well that you are protected. Now you are giving field day to criminals, so they kill your people, you don't become productive. What we are saying, those laws, we are supposed to, because we want people to be protected. Life is so precious, you can't allow people to be killed with impunity. I'll come back. We want people to have a deterrent. Now, what we are saying, in the line of production, Mr. Soko, Zambians need to be taught that we need to realize that what God has given us, there is nobody who can come and tell us, Mono mu studio tabwera wasoko na ambokamba chichose nchido wasoko tufuna fresh air but ine kunyumba kwanga kuli chigrill door na door ya mungu kama nifunza wasoko why ngoma ukamba chichose door hii ni fresh air bwanje no kamba my event alimo muno. How are these people coming to dictate to us? Remove this law so that they bring their own criminals, kill your Zambians who are taking copper. When you catch them, according to international law, but then they have killed your people. Are you seeing the narrative? So like that, your resources are going in the wrong hands. You as a country now, they will create chaos because there will be no order now, because each one is not fearing anything. So what we are saying, we need deterrent, and the deterrent can only be worked on when you have laws which allow your people to be productive, and these laws go by one.
Is that so amount to your comment on the 390 prisoners who have been now committed to life sentence from death penalty, from death sentence?
Americans are not even part and parcel of that. It's these two organizations. But they are busy pushing to American organizations to twist governments. Because it was recently where they were using lethal injections, taking lives. But you have a deterrent so that your people should work in a, because production, Mr. Soko, cannot work where people's lives are at risk. These are issues that Zambians we should be looking at, because let's look at to whose interest. Majority of Zambians are normal people. It's only these corrupt people who are supposed to be caged. Manja TI, Vamene are tend to pass the field day so that they should terrorize the country in the name of freedom. We want to every freedom. There is a limit. That's why we don't entertain insulting. We always attack policies, because President Sirumbe, he cannot have the immunity like our President Wakamba. Him is not affected even if people insult him. But there could be very few presidents who will be like him. But we need to protect the future office. Apa miende mu street, brother Soko, wafana wasunkwa. They what grind na manaifu kuma 19 hours mkambogera bus pa Simpson. Trying to threaten you when passenger rama na longa iza kucheka ile. Now imagine such kind of a discipline, you let it loose. Loko pa nyumba wasoko ati ndine tate wano na mai wano nso chape mukazini tukana mwane mfuni. Nish, what kind of a parent are you? We need the values. This is why we've been taken advantage, because we have lost values. We don't believe in ourselves. That's why nama voters kunja na imoko vitenge is not everything. My t-shirt is not everything. We should be talking of values. Owning land with title deed, Mr. Soko. Imagine if Zambians were given this land, my sister. These foreigners were supposed to be renting to us. Here, this part more. Now here, Papa St. Mary's up. What more is this? Is it as you are driving to Woodlands? Is this more which they have built? Okay, maybe in Woodlands.
Is it Finacomo?
Yes, that is the land for St. Mary's. But they have gone into an MOU with those developers. Are you seeing the importance of the title deed? You don't displace your people. Leadership movement is talking like this because we are in opposition. We have stood a number of fights. In Kabe, this Zauko guy was demolishing with impunity, chasing Zambians. We went to stood with those people. Papa Mungule, my Chinese almost taking a village. We went, stood with the people. In Livingston, Eureka, near breweries there. They had documents, those people, almost displaced. We went to stop the nonsense. In this regime, Mpima Forest, this degazetted, it was degazetted by the previous regime. People were almost evicted. You followed Mr. Soko with the KNC television. We went there. What are we saying? We have the Ubuntu, we have the value in us that land cannot be just allowing our people to be destitute in their own country and allow this foreigner. So when we talk from the reference point that if Zambians, the day they will know that somebody tells them, nina kansaka kama foreigner ine, nikabwera, nizawapasa wangu nikawazifunza, manje isewenye waziko, mzati ikaputi. Because you cannot be allowing the inheritance, Mr. Soko, to go in wrong hands. You cannot go to Britain today, and within a week you are given land. They will scrutinize you. Now, we are not saying we hate these people so much. They need to know when they come here, they should do partner.
We hate them that little.
No. In every country, when you, Mr. Soko, go to do any business, you have to be a real Zambian by paying what is supposed to be paid to that country. Here they come, you give them free tax holidays, you even reduce the minimum royalty. One, they get like a 6 speed going up, 35%. Mwakwapula. Uyunanga foreigner at no, let them. Apa malait tikamba. They are very good to take it to my foreigners. Imwenaise at here. If it was President Sirumbe by now, these mines, they are raking a lot of billions from us. We're going to tell them, Imwe, you have what it takes. Can you look up for a backup system now? In Malait, I'm taking to my poor Zambians who voted for me. Because my businesses, they have suffered. Because foreigner, they have their capacity, they can come up with a backup system, Mr. Soko, where you allow young entrepreneurs to thrive in this economic quite by we are in. But here is a preference. You want just foreigners. You have nothing to talk about, and they have reduced you so that the power of the numbers, when your people are not productive, what it does, Mr. Soko, they let you here at Zesco Babulisa. That's why it comes back to the solution. We need to be productive. Once we are productive, we will know to say, God has blessed us, and
you're talking about being productive. As a party, if you came into office today, let's talk about the agriculture sector. What is it that you do? The first thing you come into office in the agriculture sector to ensure that the agriculture sector contributes to the development of this country.
Thank you very much. Number one, land has to be the game changer here. We need to give title deeds to our people. Mr. Soko and my sister here, are you not surprised that 20 plus years, we have never seen any peasant farmer graduating from commercial, from peasant farmer to commercial? The reason is very simple. Mr. Soko, Pachinkope Paja, what hectarage is there on the NRC? Do we have meters there on the NRC to know that Vasoko, walina munda kuchongwe? Munda wao, size, ni 50 by 50 hectare. Awa maisakala, vana maminda yao nao, munda wao ulimwakuti. Reason is very simple. There are a lot of criminality ganging in the name of these associations they are forming. Because here is Ngoma is driving every weekend from Lusaka. The question that we are asking, do they really know that those people with NRC, they've got fields where they do their production? Because if I know that Mr. Soko is 25, his land is 25 by 25 hectarage, the size of inputs Mr. Soko should be going by the size of the land, because you want to go the productive route. But see what is happening. One busy kupasa, osati muzigulisa mafataleza. Wazale kabwanji kugulisa because you have people who have no fields. My product just pesa pa black market hapo. They are selling. How is it finding itself? The reason is very simple. They don't have the DNA of production. That's why for us, Zambo Kamba, Madam, letanchi ngope chane, nikuti kumuzi kwa mkuputu, munda wanu, tieni, hapa. Mwa Soko, but title did that in hapa. Because that will be a way of ascertaining that this person has got where to do farming. Because currently, Mr. Soko, not every farmer is on FISIP, but every farmer has got where to farm. So you need to empower them with those documents to start with, so that through those documents now, you are going to allow your people to receive the required farm inputs. Because for us, we are going to allow people to be accessing money in some of these banks, because our DNA will be that of production. Meanwhile, it will be business. FRA trucks will be allowing people to put their maize on those FRA trucks, take them to the neighboring countries. We conquer, we got the forex, bring them back under ZNS ourselves with the young people now. We are doing food production now. Allow our people, we create these meetings in this district so that you have advantage of your land link position, you produce more, you allow your people to be productive. That way, you are going to ensure that that energy where youths, they've been telling you, the media, we have the potential to beat. Hey, tell them that potential is supposed to be taken to production. So for us, we are thinking basic, no complication about it, Pamara. First thing, we need to work on the food. Because once we produce, why? Because everyone will be productive. Even under ZNS, our young people, wazambo, sevenza, tisevenza ndarama za kumiseo, ndarama za ZRA, ndarama za kuzikta. Zikta, every Mr. Soko you make, 30% goes to zikta. Probably, this is the money that we don't even account for. So, we are going to start from somewhere. Once you start producing, you will see now your economy being stabilized.
What measures would you put in place to ensure that the agriculture sector becomes productive? I know you've talked about the aspect of people owning land, but away from that, what measures are you going to put in place to ensure that the agriculture sector begins to benefit the country? We increase production. What measures do you have as a political party in the agriculture sector?
Thank you very much. I highlighted to say, with the title deed, we are going to have a policy where banks should allow our citizens to access money in these banks. They buy tractors, they buy farm inputs on time, and you want your people to be them controlling their local economy. Because currently you discover that it's very difficult for Mr. Soko to go bank at here, because our Soko Korato. Where is the Korato for Mr. Soko?
But banks are in the business to make money.
This is why when we say policy, it means each government has got its way of how the Americans, in case people don't know, the Americans, they can't tell us this secret. They had to use their land to allow banks help their people develop their pieces of land. Eventually they started growing. Why are we saying like this? It's because we have the education where they have taught us in the line of business, Mr. Soko. They will tell you, my sister, Imwe Wangoma, Sumgayambe business, Mulipe capital. But the real equation, their education, is about a bankable idea. First, Mufunika bankable idea. That's when this idea will tell you what to do. If you want to go into potato production, if you go into tomato production, you can't just brew. You want to do potato. You need to have where to start from. So, it's this idea that we are trying to nurture. What is it that we have? We have the Areboland in Zambia. We have the waters plenty. We have these minerals around dotted. So, these are the issues where our friends, they, as we run after the liquidity, then they come to control this resource where it generates money to them. So you are incapacitated because you are surrendering what attracts money, who is supposed to attract money to you. So when you allow these banks to access your people, because your will is these people should be helped in the line of production.
Banks, Mr. Ngoma, banks are in a business to make money. You cannot say, I'm going to put a policy where all banks should abide to giving people money even without collateral. That can't work. Because banks are here to make money. And they also conduct business in a particular laid manner. Imagine everyone being given access to go and get money from the bank. They'll get money and they'll disappear and all the banks will collapse.
Thank you very much. Let me bring it back home.
Do you mean you have to create a specific bank for the agriculture sector? Because banks have to survive, Mr. Ngoma, and they will assess your capability to pay back as well.
What I'm trying to bring Zambians to remember, those who are listening, we used to have Lima Bank, UNIP.
Exactly.
That was the ideology we are talking about. What was the purpose of that bank?
And the bank collapsed.
What I'm trying to tell you is out of our carelessness. The Supercane group, they laid the foundation. We came and sold everything that our forefathers laid. So what we are saying is reclaiming those values. Do you have industries today? Everything we have sold. It took President Michael Sata, may he so rest in peace, to reverse this deal where Zambia was going to upgrade. Zambia railway system had bought Zambia railway system. President Sata had to revoke that. He said, I cannot rule a country where my instruction should be done in a foreign country. Here we have Zambia today. Now, if you have a leader who's got the belief to say Zambians have got something, you need to work towards bettering the environment. Now, it was this government, when that was done, they were saying, no, it will roll down the investor confidence. Are you seeing? These people from day one, they are wired to just put a foreign affairs. Even in these very minds in the PF, when we are commending the PF to say you have done well to get these mines, because we believe to control our own God-given resource, they are saying, no, we need the foreigners to be given preference because we don't have capacity. It will not work well. Why are we so timid in this regime where we cannot allow Zambians to do things of their own? We are giving an example of University of Zambia here. They used the local resources. They didn't go anywhere to look for money. Manje DNA ichoke raputi. Whereby we don't want to be accountable. Always in where we sniff loan, we go and get, and this is not free loan. By the way, we are heaping this debt to the future generation, which they'll case us. They'll say, what kind of a parent were they?
What success would you attribute to this government? As the leadership movement seen everything as an area under the UPND administration, what are some of the things would you term as progressive as a political party?
Thank you very much. We are very objective. And when we mean objective, we mean when something is good, we always give credit to it. A very basic example is that the answers, you know, we are not an opposition political party ourselves. I mean, we are not an opposition political party which is based on petty issues. This is why when we are engaged, we always say in production, this government, if it can be rated for us, is only freedom of expression. We are here today, Brother Soko. In the previous regime, my sister are going to look around the criminal regime. How are we going to scamper? Should cadres descend here in this studio? Because we could not even allow you to campaign, my sister. Even the media, you were the talk of the day. You can't sleep Panyumba Pana Sokwen. Just to have what? Because those guys were, as we have evidence, Uko Kumombe, we are about to have our exercise of empowerment. They broke our vehicles. Mr. Soko, if you ask Mr. Innocent Piri, Uko Kumisis, Kuka ground, the cameras were broken with that criminal regime. So these people, we are saying they have some severity because we are moving freely. We can, though there are those remnants, you, the media, you are battered in Petauke. And we are saying they should not forget that the Zambians are the real opposition in Kunjauko. If the way they gave marching order to their friends, if they are going to continue to go that route, they should be prepared to be given marching orders. So leadership movement, we are saying we cannot feed on the cadreism, for example. People need to be given something to do. So when we rate these people, the best people who can rate them, we are going to be very happy that oh, I am a subsidy, so that unga pa 50 kwacha, fertilizer pa 250 kwacha, tatengako kandalama tufuna revamp nitrogen chemicals of that. But what happened? Day one was so. Wanachosa subsidy and they want to cost reflective on the international market. Manje tafunza, international market, years of water, my sis. Is it not the Zambian people are voting? So you don't have policies which are supposed to help your people to survive. Wana wenzoguka kuseni seni kuma misisi kuma bauleni kuma chongwe ati not ngaleko bwini lelo wachinja kutava leko combat atifuna 6 points apiere mumseo no grade 12. You can't develop like that. We want educated or not. Labor is labor, Mr. Soko. Be it blue collar labor, white collar labor, awa bantu aba bafunko uziwa kukambati chalo kuti chinkale chalo ni chakuja. Ichi chakuja wafunze kaunda chinampasa ma matching orders. Wafunze MMB matching orders. PF of course is debatable. There are these other things. But what are we telling the new dawn? It's never too late for them. They have some good 3 years to go. If they listen to what President Sirumba and leadership movement, they are telling them that let them do selected base. Instead of kutamangira kugulisa ndeke, kutamangira kutosa malamula mina tete za bantu, wabwerele pati chakudia, awa bantu. They need to work on food so that once you prepare food, in the hierarchy of need, food is basic. Education is so go.
Mr. Ngoma, I'll give you 2 minutes to conclude your thought as we come to the dying end of the program.
Okay. Thank you very much. As leadership movement, we have been very clear. The buzzword is production here. There is no way we can be told that we have no interest in business. Meanwhile, our land weze, watu matumakampa ntwao, tupo tutengela migodi kuno, tumakampa ntwao, after wasemenze samakoya, tumumsamunda, wanawapeleka kufima plantation, they create their revenue. Now they tell you, no, you have no capacity to control your own things. We should be controlling. Under the leadership of President Sirumbe, farming will be business. Title deed abantu will be talking of tax breaks and tax holidays, local entrepreneurs, imwe muno. Nikalipono iba lako, imwe ma media imwe. Would want you to be competing with the BBC, Al Jazeera. We cannot have a media where press briefing. Muno mu studio muno, you were supposed to go kumonzo kukulima flood, but kuna mamoto kayokwana. You are supposed to buy those vehicles on duty free. This institution was supposed to be employing, is an industry. Kulima talent kunja kubana watu wasa punzira. You were supposed to be given those policies because we know through the media information cannot reach where you are not there. And for us, production requires this information. Therefore, you the media, that's why we are giving a gala for the media at National Crew there to appreciate the work you people you are doing. And we want the new done, we are reminding them. Can you attach certain policies? We want this media to be competing with the BBC, Al Jazeera, so that the news can be taken to the world. As leadership movement, we want information. This is why our president plan they should look at the media. The media, you are the ones who are supposed to take this information. So production cannot go in a vacuum without you, the media. So leadership movement, we are prioritizing, you are in our manifesto, and we want the new dawn to be told that you can't develop a society where they are lacking in information. And the media is such a tool which needs to be taken, public or private. For us, wherever there is an embassy, we will need news to go, and you people will be taken there. Thank you very much.
Mr. Jairus Ngoma, their leadership movement Secretary General, speaking passionately about what is happening in the country. In case you're just joining us, we've come to the dying end of the program. This program was being streamed live on our Facebook page. For those who've sent comments, I know we couldn't read them, but we've seen those comments. Thank you so much for accompanying us. Until next time. So this show was streamed live. You can just go through the program and just listen to some of the highlights of this program. Mr. Ngoma here has given powerful submissions and contributions, and I know policymakers are listening. You can pick one or two or everything that is said with regards to the leadership movement's vision for the country Zambia. Patrick.
For tomorrow, you can join us for the business edition of the Camnet Breakfast on the policy and the politics aspect. Join me and Sharon Kalimbula next week as we continue to give you nothing but the best of infotainment on Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.